Hi, everyone. How are you? I have some stuff to talk about today. A lot of questions about the comment that I made on one of my previous videos when I said that green accounts for 40% of the color wheel, right? 40% of the Color Strategist Color Wheel has something to do with green, something greenish. That's what we're going to talk about. So I'm going to give everyone a few seconds to join. So, it looks like most of the front half cut off for some people. So I'm going to repeat what I just said. So today in this live, we are going to talk about the comment that I made the other day about 40% of the Color Strategist Color Wheel having something to do with green. There's some degree of greenishness in 40% of these hue families. So I wanted to clarify that because it is confusing. And as an update to a personal update, I'm going to tell you a short little story. So, I told you in the video about how to find the prettiest brown that I kind of have an issue with sugar and chocolate in particular. And so we measured some chocolate to just for fun and to see what hue family it is and see if it aligned with some Trex decking. And it did. It was, it's the color of chocolate. And so having the chocolate here was tough because I have been very careful for a very long time to just not have it around. So I'm not tempted. Well, I ate a bite. I couldn't do it. I ate a bite. And here's what happened, you guys. It didn't even taste good. I didn't even finish it. It made my teeth hurt. It didn't taste as good as I imagined it would. So all of these months I've been going, kind of obsessing, imagining about how good it would taste and, the willpower to resist. And I tasted it and was just like, this isn't even good. So I threw it in the trash can myself, no problem. And then I yelled at the kids. I said, get in the car. We're going to the Cheesecake Factory. The Cheesecake Factory. Of course I would. And let me tell you why. I love their grilled chicken Caesar salad. I love their dressing. It's really good. So I've been avoiding the Cheesecake Factory for obvious reasons. It has cheesecake in the name, right? And they have a gluten-free chocolate Godiva cheesecake that is better than any of their other cheesecakes. So we haven't gone to the Cheesecake Factory because I didn't want to be tempted. So I felt empowered after throwing that candy bar in the trash can and not even caring. And so we went, and Nick actually got a slice of New York cheesecake because that's his favorite. And I wasn't even tempted to take a forkful of the whipped cream. I just didn't even care. So I walked out of the cheesecake without getting the Cheesecake Factory, without getting cheesecake. And, that was quite a milestone for me. And if I were in charge of the universe, glitter would have rained down and magically I would have dropped another 30 pounds. But that didn't happen because, unfortunately, I'm not in charge of the universe. If I were, it'd be fun. But I am in charge of the land of color. And welcome to the land of color. And thanks for joining me for this live, where we are going to discuss green and how to construct pitch perfect, harmony-wise green color schemes. Because it matters which category of green you have to work with. We're going to measure some colors. We always measure some colors. We're going to measure some quartz. You guys really liked the videos. I got great feedback when I measured the Madre Parola and the Taj Mahal quartz a couple videos ago. So I have some more quartz samples that we're gonna measure, and I also have another Trex decking we're going to use as examples to show you how important it is to get the right category of green, to categorize your greens correctly. So that's what we're going to do. And so we are going to get started. Where do we want to start? Let's start with me sharing. I'm going to show you something before we get started. So I'm going to share my screen, and I have this all worked out, so I figured it out. So this is the near neutral color wheel that I designed way back in 2013. And I designed it actually to answer for a post that I created. And it was actually on the House forum. It's still there from 2013. I've been posting on House since 2004, and posts from 2004 still bubble up to the top. I get notifications that someone's commented or liked one of my posts from almost 20 years ago now. So I did this in 2013 for a blog post there. And then in 2016, when I launched my Camp Chroma 4 Pillars of Color course, I was looking for, graphics to support that content. And I remembered I had this handy dandy little color wheel. So then I created a handy handbook of color harmonies using the near neutral color wheel. And I did tints, tones, and shades. And I think I can show you that PDF. But I'm sharing this with you because this is why it's important to categorize your greens correctly, because it's all about color harmony, right? It's about getting the right green category so you know what other colors go with that color of green. So for example, I'm just going to hop right to the yellow hue family here. We can, in this handbook that you can only get in the 4 pillars of color, when you identify what kind of green you're working with, like in this case, let's say we're working with greens from the yellow hue family and the green yellow hue family. And I actually have some examples of those that we're going to walk through. You can go to this handbook and you can flip through it and you can get ideas about what other near neutrals will work with that near neutral grade green from the yellow hue family. So this helps you think of color schemes that you might not have come up with on your own, because there's just, so much. There's so many different ways to approach this. And I'm saying this all the time, how flexible and elastic this framework of color notations is. And this is an example. And it's like a jungle gym for the creative eye. It really is. But having supporting infographics like this is just inspiration, right? Inspiration and aspiration. So you don't have to work so hard to try to figure it out all by yourself. Because could you? Sure. I mean, most designers have some degree of color mojo. They have a gift for color in some way that they can just eyeball everything. But I tell you what, when you start getting into a volume of clients and it becomes about workflow and an efficient workflow, relying on your color mojo and having the luxury of time to just flip through samples and flip through fan decks isn't always realistic. I mean, sometimes you gotta get the job done, and sometimes there's a volume of work to get done. So having the framework of notations and supporting infographics like I'm showing you here, like the Color Strategy Color Wheel and this handbook of color harmonies, they're just supportive tools, right? They're supportive tools for your color mojo. So if you scan, if you have a project and you've measured the colors and, for example, you're getting some near neutrals in the carpeting or from the flooring that falls into the yellow red hue family, and then you have a competing tile next to it that falls into the yellow hue family. It's like these are the only two color components that we have so far in the color scheme. There are no textiles, there's nothing else, but or you have the opportunity to replace decor and textiles. Where do I go with just these fixed finishes that belong to the yellow red hue family and the yellow hue family? Where do I go with this in terms of a color scheme and hitting it with that perfect pitch of harmony? this is how you figure it out. You go to this handbook of color harmonies and you can shop. I love to shop. I'd love to shop, period. But you can shop paint colors and take that up a notch, and you can shop color schemes. But this all starts with identifying and categorizing the fixed finishes in terms of hue family. That's where it starts. You have to figure out what hue families you have to work with. And we just moved into the green yellow hue family. And you can see that the green yellow near neutral doesn't change as I flip through these pages. The only thing that changes are the other near neutrals that will go with it. So this is the whole point. This is a really pretty color scheme, by the way. This is really pretty. Near neutrals from yellow, green yellow, purple blue, and purple. This is really pretty for an ensuite in particular. There's just so many pretty ones. I could sit here and flip through. There's 180 of these. I made 180 near neutral color schemes for my Camp Chroma campers. Like I said, this is a PDF that you only get in Camp Chroma. This is one of the very first things I created for them in 2016, because understanding how to combine near neutrals might be the major pain point for everyone. It's like, what do I do with these disparate components that don't appear to go together? You know, you have a countertop from the yellow red hue family in this particular example we're looking at, and the countertop belongs to the green yellow hue family. It's like, how do I complete this color scheme puzzle? Well, here are the other pieces. Right? The other pieces would be something from the blue hue family, purple blue, and purple hue family. And you can find those color schemes and these colors in other materials. Maybe it's a rug. Maybe it's a throw pillow. Maybe it's a literal throw blanket. Maybe it's a textile. You get something upholstered. So many options, right? This is where the designer mojo comes in. But this is what I mean by a framework. And this is literally a roadmap to color scheming. So you don't have to work so hard. Like, you don't have to pull that out of your soul, which is really sometimes where it comes from when you're a designer. When I was a graphic designer, my office was all the way in the back. I had to walk by everybody else in the office to get to my desk. And I remember walking past all of these people, and they had inboxes full of papers, right? And I had to walk through the sales support department. And all of these ladies and gentlemen had, inboxes just full of stacks of paper. And it was paperwork, sales paperwork that they had to go through and do stuff to. And that was their job, the back end of the sales. And I remember thinking, God, it'd be nice to like walk into my desk and have an inbox full of structured tasks. This is what you have to do today, Lori, in that inbox, and then just go through and do it. But that's not what I had as a graphic designer. When I got to my desk, there was nothing but a stack of blank paper that went into a very expensive printer. And the only way that it became any kind of a product was if it came out of my head, right? Just blank pieces of paper and me. And that's just kind of like, and that's the life of a designer. It's like, you have to produce, it's not a product unless you make it a product. And it's the same with color design and architectural color. It's like, you can collect all of these pieces, for example, the fixed finishes and, the end important elements in the space. Fixed finishes and important elements, and you collect all of these pieces to this color scheme puzzle, and then it's up to you to make it into a cogent color scheme, a harmonious color scheme. And it can be overwhelming when you have a very busy workflow. In addition to that, you can't just hand it off to somebody else, right? You can't get help with that. You have to train somebody up. You have to coach somebody up so they're in alignment with your color mojo. If you have a framework like this, if you have color harmony road maps like I'm showing you now, that makes that process a lot easier, because now you can give them something tangible to reference. You can give them something rational to reference as opposed to your Color Mojo, which isn't necessarily irrational. That's not what I'm saying, but that's totally intuitive. And you can't impart your intuitive Color Mojo to a virtual assistant. If you have something tangible like these color scheme roadmaps with the near neutral color wheel, or the framework of notations and color data values, you can teach someone how to do that. It democratizes color. And democratizing color, some people have a problem with that, right? Because they don't want color to be this easy. They would prefer color not be this straightforward because they are invested in their own Color Mojo, right? Their brand is all about their Color Mojo and their gift for color and their special intuition with color, and how, no one else has that secret sauce with color. Well, that is Color Mojo, and everybody has their own degree of secret sauce in Color Mojo. That never changes, right? The framework of color notations and a roadmap of color schemes using a near neutral color wheel isn't a threat to that. It's just a supportive, what do I say? It's just a supportive structure, armature to Color Mojo. And it's here for you if you want to use it, and you don't have to use it, right? If you don't want to use notations, fine, keep doing it your way. But if there is a need for improvement, if there's a need for streamlining, if there's a need for more confidence, then that's what the framework of color notations will do for you. And that's what these color scheme maps will help you with. So this is why we are doing what we're doing when I get on here and I measure color with you. And then we go to the pink color DNA table and I show you how to very quickly find all of the pink colors from all of the major brands that are your options. And then from there, you can choose. So if you're a designer with Color Mojo, you're going to love the options because don't tell me what to do. I'll be making those decisions. Thank you very much. Because, that's why I get out of bed in the morning. That's what I want to do. That's my thing. That's, I want to do that. But then if you're a homeowner and you're like, I just need to know what colors are going to go with my stuff, right? I don't want to do any kind of personality profile. I don't care if green makes me feel better than orange. They don't care about that. They just want an answer. And you can find answers this way as well. So you can toggle between just tell me what to do and give me a framework of options so my creative Color Mojo has some place to go play and flex its muscles. Either way, whatever you want to do. Or just don't use any of it. Just keep, flipping through a stack of color samples, eyeballing it, and relying on your intuition. It's up to you. But this is why I'm here. This is why I do what I do. This is exactly precisely how I have made color easy for everyone. So let's get started. I am going to go back here and I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And gosh, what do we want to do first? I have so many good things for you guys. I have some fun stuff. I think I'm going to get a drink of water. Hold on. Okay. Now what do I want to do? I'm going to get this out of the way because I'm working with limited space, as everybody knows. I say it every single time. And I am going to get the quartz samples and the Trex sticking up here on my desktop. And it might be time to flip over and start sharing my desktop with you. And I think I'm going to turn off this branding feature because now you know who I am. I'm Lori Sawaya, color strategist at the Land of Color, former sugar addict. Quite proud of that. Okay, here's my desktop. Hi, everyone. This is my Spectro Pro. You can see the Color Strategist Color Wheel here, which you can also, if you want to, this is a 6-inch vinyl. Let me tell you about that real quick. This is a six inch vinyl Color Strategist Color Wheel, and you can leave the back on and just use it like a regular color wheel, or you can peel the backing off and use it as a sticker. And that's what I did. This is a sticker on my iPad. So whenever I open the Spectro app or the Color Muse app, I have my color wheel right here, because you have to have the color wheel to translate the color data values that you get from all of the apps. Whether you're using a Spectra 1, Spectra 1 Pro, a Color Muse, a NYX, a Color Reader, what Color Reader has, that Color Reader EZ. If you get LCH values, you need the Color Strategist Color Wheel to look up the hue angle, and that will then translate it into a hue family. Otherwise, the hue angle on the apps are just kind of like hanging out there. It's like, here you go. It's 119.78 degrees. And you're like, great. What does it mean? Because the apps don't do that for you, right? They don't interpret the data. The data does not interpret itself. And again, that's why we're here. I show you how to interpret the data. I have all of the tools on the back end for you after you interpret the data. So then you know what to do with it, right? Then you know how to take the data and go find a paint color. You know how to take the data and go create a color scheme, right? I have it all for you. And the reason why I have it all for you, a complete system for you, is because I had to make it for myself. I am a systems and process kind of girl, and that comes from my graphic design background. It's like, this has got to be more efficient. This has got to be easier than getting a stack of samples and just trading out colors and hoping to God one of them is in there. There's got to be a better way, and this is it. And along the way, it just so happens that I was able to incorporate considerations for metamerism. So if the light changes, what do you do? Where do you go from here? And I teach you all of that in Camp Chroma in detail. And I could really go off the rails with all of that. And but I won't, because we have to stay focused on what we're doing, which is measuring 2 quartz samples, a Trex decking, and talking about why categorizing green the right way matters, which I think you guys now understand that, right? That's why it matters to get the right hue family. So when Danica emailed me, her question was, she said, you said it was 40% of the color wheel. I'm going to put this on my iPad because I think that's the best place. And she only sees 3 hue families with green, right? Blue, green, green, and green, yellow. It's like, so that shouldn't that be 30%? I had to take a minute, because unless there's a dollar sign in front of it, when it comes to percentages, I'm not the quickest. Put a dollar sign in front of that, and I'm good. But regular math with no dollar signs, for some reason, it's a mental thing. It becomes harder. It's the craziest thing. But I had to take a minute. It's like, well, was I right? Is it 40%? Yeah, it's 40%. But she's thinking 30% because she only saw 3 hue families. So I understood what she was saying. I'm including yellow in my 40% of the color wheel that has some degree of greenness to it. And I'm going to show you why. I got to reach back and get my Color Mondo, which is like the Color Mondo. Seriously, Nicolene, I think it's either Nicole or Nicolene who invented this. Like, I love her. I love my Color Mondo. It's like the most brilliant thing ever. There are so many brilliant people in color world, and I am so lucky to have gotten to meet so many of these people, like smart people, really smart people. So the Color Mondo is probably the best example of why I include yellow. And this is just an inherent characteristic, an inherent fact of yellow. When you desaturate yellow, it turns greenish, specifically olive. And that's very similar to how when you desaturate a yellow, red, orange, When you desaturate orange, it turns brown, right? It's just an inherent factual characteristic of the hue pairing. That's just what happens. So this is a slice out of the Color Mondo, and it shows you, it's a good example of how when we desaturate yellow and it gets closer and closer to the true neutral axis, that it starts to, get a little greenish, olive green to be specific. And again, you guys know I like to use food as a reference to describe color because that is really the best atlas. A refrigerator full of food is one of the best color atlases you can find because everyone can relate, right? Everyone has a mental notation, a learned experience of what an olive looks like. So that's why I like to use food. I also like food. I do like food, and that struggle is a whole other story. Chocolate is just the tip of that iceberg, people. Food. But I swear the reason why I like to use food as a reference as a color atlas is because it works so well. So desaturated yellow starts to turn olive green, and that's where you're going to find the prettiest olive greens is from the yellow hue family. Where that starts to happen is around, I'd say 2 to 4, 2Y to 4Y, about right here in the yellow hue family is where you're going to find the prettiest yellows. I said that backwards. I am backwards. I'm upside down. Let me figure out where I am. That's not what I meant to say. You are not into olive green territory until you get to, that's why I hesitated when I say it. It's like, that doesn't sound right as I was saying it, and it doesn't look right either. You're going to find the prettiest olive greens in the back half of the yellow hue family. So like starting at 5Y and on. In the front half of the yellow hue family, they could shift greenish because when we're in three-dimensional color space, there's kind of a curve that happens, but that gets super mathematical. And honestly, it gets too deep into the weeds where it kind of doesn't even matter. So you just have to be aware. If you're aware that desaturated yellow shifts and looks olive, that's all you need to be aware of and know. But that doesn't happen till like the back half of the yellow hue family. That's where you're going to find the prettiest colors of olive green. You're not going to find this flavor of green in any other hue family. You can't get it anywhere else except for yellow. So even though it's yellow hue family and it looks greenish, that is counterintuitive for a lot of people. But it's just one of the facts of color that you need to know and understand. That's part of why we're here, right? That's why you're here talking to me, is to learn stuff like that you need to know that's helpful in figuring out the kind of green that you have to deal with so you can get the perfect pitch of color harmony throughout your project. The right components put together. And if you can't identify what the components are to begin with, then how are you going to put them together successfully? You know what I mean? It's the framework. You got to have the framework worked out. Okay, so we're going to start measuring some colors now. So I hope that explained why I say 40%, because desaturated yellow starts to turn greenish, olive greenish. And of course, when you desaturate, when you get to the near neutrals of the green-yellow hue family, the green hue family, and the blue-green hue family, we flipped through what that looked like on the near neutral color wheel PDF that I showed you. So yeah, you can desaturate, and I can also show you on the Color Mondo, actually. So yeah, when we get into the, when we desaturate greens and blue greens, they also get more neutral, right? And that's what a near neutral or chromatic gray means, is when we go from the, where I am, is when we go from the saturated hue parent, like right here at green, and then we desaturate it and move towards the neutral value axis. So that's what near neutral chromatic gray means. That's a three-dimensional example of the color space. Color wheel is a two-dimensional infographic, actually, of, let me say that again. A color wheel is a two-dimensional infographic of a three-dimensional color space. All right, they're connected. They are not, one is not divorced from the other. They go together. You get one, you get both, and that's how you use a color wheel. Okay, let's go on to part 2, where we're going to start measuring some colors. Then we're going to go to the paint color DNA table, and I'm going to show you how to shop for colors that are guaranteed to go with these materials because they belong to the same hue family. All right, let me fire up. My Ohio was showing right there. I'm from Columbus, Ohio. Let me fire up my iPad and let me connect. Thank you. I fat fingered my password there. And what I'm doing, let me put this down now because you guys like to watch everything. And I hope you guys can see. I hope it's close enough. So my Spectra 1 Pro is connected. Let me put it the right way. So this device goes with this app, and I always use Compare. Here's my work window. You guys should be very familiar with my work window by now. And the first thing I'm going to measure is this quartz sample. It's very, very pretty. It's very neutral. It has a lot of movement to it. I wouldn't say it's quiet at all. It's called Verrazzano, right? No, it's called Vezzano, Vezzano, from Pentel Quartz. So this is what we're working with. Really pretty colors. It's very neutral. And we're going to measure it. I already know what hue family it belongs to. And then we're going to talk about why this is a really good neutral choice that's going to give you a lot of flexibility. And it's, you know, it's not necessarily a safe choice. It's just a pretty choice. And it's not a safe choice. It's just a neutral choice. And that's okay. So I'm going to scan it. And I'm after the LCH values. And it's coming up at 123 degrees. And if we look up 123 degrees on the Color Strategist Color Wheel, we're right here, which is very near the middle of the green-yellow hue family. So we know that the hue family of this quartz sample is green-yellow. From here, we can go over to the paint color DNA table, and I'm going to go there right now. We can enter these parameters and figure out what colors go with this quartz sample. And look, I have it all set up. It like came up exactly how I wanted it. We're getting there, people. We're getting there with the live streaming. I'm going to close out the PDF that I was sharing with you of the 180 color schemes for near neutrals using the near neutral color wheel. I don't want to close out everything. However, I just need to click over here. It's just that simple. I'm going to close out the ad. I think we need to look at that, by the way, because I think the ads on here might be causing a glitch for some people. And I have my videos from YouTube down here at the bottom. I don't think those are the problem. I think it's the ads. So if you go to the paint color DNA the paint color DNA table, close out the ads so you don't have to worry about it getting stuck. So the Vezzano quartz sample, I have the measurements right here. I'm not going to take 5 to 7 measurements like I normally do for time's sake, because you guys know I like to take multiple scans, but I'm good with this. And I already have the range that I want to search on the DNA table. So we're going to enter the greater than and less than sign, and then we're going to do 2 ampersands. And the range that I'm looking for, find paint colors that go with this quartz sample, guaranteed to go with the quartz sample because it has the same DNA, right? The same hue family. And that's where color harmony comes from. It comes from color relationships. How do you figure out color relationships? You measure it, you get the DNA, and then you line the DNA up. It could not be easier. That is literally how I have made color easy for you and me, because that's really how it started, was making it easier for me. So the range I'm going to enter is 70 to 90 in the lightness value. And I got that from here. You can't see my desktop anymore, can you? The measurement for lightness was 81. So it was 81, 82. So if I do lightness, a range between 70 and 90, it captures that and then some. So I can shop all of the options, all of the viable options. So I click into the chromaticity filter and greater than, less than, 2 ampersands, and I'm going to do equals. And the chroma value was 2, and my range is going to be to 4. Then we go over to the hue angle filter. Let that work out the chromaticity. See, and these are all of the colors that meet those parameters I just entered. So these are all of the colors from all of the major paint brands that fit between 70 and 90 degrees in terms of lightness, and chromaticity between 2 and 4. And, you know, this is great to have this, but I need to drill it down so it's specific to my quartz sample. And I only want the colors that align with the DNA of the quartz. I don't really care about the other hue families right now. So I'm going to enter greater than, less than, and 2 ampersands. I went too far. And let's see, my range for the hue angle is going to be 118 to 121 degrees. And I might change that because this was measuring at 123, 124. Oh, maybe that was 124. I can't read my own writing. It is 118 to 124. That's what I had. Let's see what we get. This is always a tense moment because it's like, did I do it right? It's like, is it going to come up with something crazy? And like, it's live. What do I do then? But I always hold my breath a little bit whenever I click on the screen, but it worked out. These are beautiful colors. This is a beautiful selection. Oh my gosh, really, really pretty. I didn't have time to go this far. I had an agenda of what I wanted to talk about, but I didn't have time to actually do it. That's why I'm so late on a live. It was a day, but I wanted to answer these questions that you guys had sent me before we get too far away from the last video. So, gotta do it. But it's fun, right? This is fun looking at all of these colors. I'm just as surprised as you are because I haven't gotten to see them. Oh my gosh, this would be so lovely. How pretty of a kitchen or a bathroom would this be with any of these wall colors? Gosh, I don't even know which, there's so many, it's hard to pick. I'm looking here, it's like, what would I do? I would probably do Cliffside Gray because it's a historical color from Benjamin Moore. Those colors are also beautiful. Such, a rich history. It has that whole collection. I think it's coming up on being 50 years old. It has quite the provenance, that Benjamin Moore collection. They really have something special there. Sherwin-Williams Passive. Yeah, I mean, I need to move on because I could sit here and flip through and play with the colors for hours, and that's not why you guys are here. Let's watch Lori drool over all of the prettiest colors, and yeah, because that's my job. I'm so lucky that that's my job. I get to play with paint colors, and this is so fun. This is, being able to play with this many paint colors from this many brands all in one window. I mean, it just brings me so much joy. And I'm so glad that I'm able to share it with you guys, right? This is free. The Paint Color DNA table is free. You just have to learn how to use it. So yeah, we've identified this quartz sample as belonging to the green yellow hue family. And then we go to the Paint Color DNA table and we're able to look up colors specifically in the green yellow hue family that are guaranteed to harmonize with your quartz because the thread of harmony is hue family. And, you would never No one. I don't care how strong the color mojo is. I don't care how great the intuition for feeling the energy of color is. There is no way you could do this to this scale without the DNA table. There's no way you could have this much fun. I don't care. I don't care what anybody says. Flipping through a fan deck is not this much fun. And I need to go. I keep like looking at the colors. I'm sorry, you guys. I should have gotten on here and done it before so I could have gotten over my little, because my mind is racing. It's like, what would I do? All the things we could do with this quartz sample and these colors. And I need to let it go. It's hard. It's hard to just let it go like that. What are we doing next? You want to do another quartz sample? We'll do another quartz sample. And I'm going to just refresh my page. That really is the easiest way to reset the DNA table. And I'm going to check StreamYard here just to make sure, we're still doing good. You guys can still see everything. Everything's working. I got to just check in. I am not checking comments. I'm so sorry. If I am missing any comments, I don't think I am. Let me double check. I'm not. Because I can't share my screen and watch comments at the same time because, it's just me. So I call this an accordion window because when you click on this, it opens and closes the tutorial. So I'm going to close the tutorial. When you refresh it, it automatically pops open. I don't know why. It's one of the things on my list for the developer to fix that bugs the crap out of me. And I'm going to close the ad and we need to measure this sample. Do you guys want me to flip back to my desktop so you can see me measure this? And then we'll come back to, we'll do that. I'm going to share my desktop again. And my eyes are watering because my allergies are like really bad right now. Okay, we'll just take a second here for me to fix my eye. And we are going to come back to the Spectra 1 app, and we're going to measure we're going to measure this quartz sample. And I have my work window again, and I put the cap on it. I need to take the cap off. Okay, so quartz sample sitting on top of my color wheel. My work window is open. Where do I want to go with this? There are a lot of colors here, right? So how do you choose which color to measure when something has this many colors? You pick out the primary one. You pick out the one. That it seems like it seems like there's the most of. And you can measure all of them if you want. And I would, because it would just be fun to do it. But if you just want to get in there and get it done, you just want to pick out the one that looks like is the most prominent, right? That's what I want to say. So I'm going to start here and see what I get. And we get 250 degrees. Where is that? That is in the blue hue family. So we have some blues here, but there's also greenish. I see a lot of greenish in this, and I'm sure you guys can't see it on the camera. And yeah, it's 220 degrees is the hue angle that we're getting on the app. I'll hold it up. I'm here. This is the sample. It's 220 degrees. And so when we go over to the color wheel and we look up 220 degrees, we are at the end of the blue-green hue family, approaching the blue hue family. And I think there's some greener. We can even get greener because I can, when you use the framework on a consistent basis, it kind of trains your eye. So it trains your brain more than it trains your eye, because now you have a framework to categorize color and visualize it in your head. Right now, you don't have a framework for organizing color in your head. Once you learn the framework of notations, hue, value, and chroma, now you have a mental reference, and it becomes more like a reflex when you see a color, as far as you know where it goes. So just using the framework in the system gets you to that point where I can look at this and know what and have a no. I really do. I know what hue families we have to work with, but I still want to use the app to get the numbers so I can efficiently construct a range to quickly go over to the DNA table and get that list of colors that I love to play with so much. Right? It gets me there faster and more efficiently. And really, there's no possible way to do that at that scale, just eyeballing it. There's just not. So I'm going to make another scan here. We know it's 220 degrees. We got 230 degrees. We are right around the end of the blue-green hue family and approaching the blue hue family. And we need to, and this is 187 degrees. And so, yeah, every scan is getting a little bit farther and farther. Where are we? We're here. We were at 230. This is 187. So now we're over here into the middle of the blue-green hue family. So it's a blue-green. The color of green in this quartz sample is a blue-green. This is a blue-green quartz sample. So to find colors that work with this, you only want to shop for paint colors, near neutrals, chromatic grays, if you're looking for something softer, and not a bold paint color, because who is? Everybody wants a neutral for a wall color. You want to find the pocket of blue-green, near neutral, chromatic grays in the DNA table, because those are the only options to go with this quartz sample. So I think I'm done measuring this quartz sample. I wanted to talk about the blue hue family on the Color Strategist Color Wheel. So the blue hue family, 5B, on my color wheel isn't like a primary blue. It leans a little bit green. This is another color fact that you need to know. It's part of the color expert toolbox, things you have to know about how color wheels work, about how color works. It's just one of those things that you need to know. The blue on the Color Strategist Color Wheel leans a little bit green. So when we were getting a reading of 230 degrees, which is very near the beginning of the blue hue family, I still knew that we were in a category of greenness. It's just, this is where we were. This is the category of greenness we were in. Because I know that the blue on the Color Strategist Color Wheel leans a little bit greenish. And that was necessary to get equidistant spacing of hue families around the 360 degrees. So the reason for it, that's the executive summary for the reason for it. We could get way into the weeds of the color science as to why it was necessary, but does anybody need to know that? Not really, just me, because I made the wheel and I made all the tools that go with the wheel. I'm, let me carry that one for you and just tell you that all you need to know is that blue on the Color Strategist Color Wheel leans a little bit green. You might be asking, so where is a true primary blue then? Well, it is closer to the purple blue hue family and actually the end of the blue hue family, right around 10B at 250 degrees. So a primary blue on the Color Strategist Color Wheel is around 245 to 250 degrees. So that's the story. That's the blue story of my color wheel. But it was important because you have to be able to categorize colors correctly if you want to hit that perfect pitch of nuance, right? All of this stuff is necessary in the framework to get it right. Can you just eyeball it? Sure. But if you have a framework that maps all of it out for you, it's a pretty good option. Pretty good option there. Let's go shopping for paint colors. So I am going to remove this and I'm going to share the paint color DNA table again. And I need to check to make sure that we're all lined up and ready to work. We are. And I have a new window. And the range for this quartz sample for lightness is going to be 80 to 90. So greater than, less than, Go back and do 2 ampersands. I went too far. I do that all the time. I just go one too far. That sums a lot up. I'm one too far. That's that's so indicative of so many things. Going just a little too far, Lori. Story of my life. Okay. 80 to 90 degrees for lightness value for this very pretty Azul Aran quartz sample. It's dark. I mean, this would be lovely in like a butler's pantry. I would do this in a bathroom, but I like dark, dramatic colors. I could do this in a kitchen with black appliances or something. I could do that. Okay, now the chroma range I had for this quartz sample was 6 to 8.5. So put in a couple ampersands. We're going to do equals 6 because I want to include 6, and I'm going to do equals 8.5 because I want to include 8.5. I don't want to just do between 6 and 8.5. I want to include 6 to 8.5. Click on the table, it grays out, it's doing all that filtering. And again, this is fantastic. These are all of the colors from all of the major brands, 10,000 plus colors that I have in the database that fit between the range of 80 and 90 lightness and chromaticity of 6.85. All of these colors, but that's great to know. But I need to get specific to what's going to work with this quartz sample only. Those are the only colors I need to shop. I don't need to shop all of the other colors. I'm glad they're there. We need them. But I'm not focused on them right now. I am focused on colors with a hue angle. I am going to say between, what am I going to say? 187. What do I want to do for the blue-green hue family? I didn't write this down, so I need to think. So it was like 230 to 187. I don't know. Let's do 180. Yeah, I have to look at the wheel so I can think through this. 180 is the end of the green hue family. This was leaning more blue. I don't want to do 180. I think I want to do 185. 185 is reasonable. And let's cut this off for the search before the blue hue family. And let's stop at about 210 degrees. And again, I haven't done this, so don't know what we're going to get. And I'm going to click it and drum roll, and yeah, this could be good. This is a little too more saturated than when I was thinking, what I had in mind. But one, we can change that. And two, oh my gosh, Sherwin-Williams Tidewater with this quartz in a bathroom. I mean, holy cats, that would be pretty. So yeah, I'm glad I did this and I got to see this range of more colorful colors. The Dunn-Edwards colors are popping up, the odd ones, every now and then, because I got the data values from Dunn-Edwards. God bless them. They tried to work with me. Tried so hard. I have the best Dunn-Edwards sales rep, by the way. Her name is Sarah. She is so amazing. I love her so much, and she tried so hard, and we're almost there. There's just a few colors in Dunn-Edwards that got a little bit messed up in the spreadsheet that they sent me, and they're working to figure it out, and we're working to fix it. But I just love them so much. I love their paint. I love the people. They're right up the street for me, so I am a little bit biased because it's local for me. Dunn-Edwards is local for me, and I have a soft spot for them. I'm going to change the chroma. I'm going to lower this to like 4 to 6 because I want some more, I want something more neutral and less colorful. This is still too colorful for me. I'm going to back down the chroma even more. I'm going 2 to 4. I'm going 2 to 3. We're going to go big. Yeah, this is more like it. This is what I had in mind. Yeah, just these soft, barely there whispers of color in the blue-green hue family with samples like this. I mean, we could just go to town with this on samples. It would be very hard to restrain myself from not click and try it for all of these colors and getting all of them, just, to see what it looks like. So if I had to pick one, this is the game I play with myself. It's like, you can only pick one, Lori. If I had to pick one near neutral chromatic gray to go with this quartz, and we're doing a theoretical kitchen, which one would I pick? Winter's Breath from PPG for sure, because I know that color. It's very pretty. And Ocean Crest from Ecos is very pretty too. That's more grade. Pebble Beach. I would pick Pebble Beach from Benjamin Moore. Rainy season, I'm picking one from every brand. I didn't say just one. How about one from all of the brands? Rainy season from Dunn Edwards is beautiful. That might be a little too bathroomy for a kitchen. Pebble Beach is a good one for a kitchen because it's neutral enough. There's it's not too colorful. And again, I don't want to spend too much time here just scrolling through this, looking at it. Fanfare from Benjamin Moore, I would sample that one because that would be more of an off-white color. Off-white doesn't mean that it has to be creamy, by the way. Off-white just means that it doesn't fit into the category of being a white. And that would be any color that has a Munsell value of 9.2 and above, and a chromaticity value is really one, and a chromaticity below 1.0. So whites, an actual true neutral white is going to be 9.12 Munsell, which is right here. We'll scroll up here. It's a Munsell value of 9.12 or above. Oh, wait, I can just do this. Let's move on. Are we good with the colors I would choose from here? Yeah, I think we covered that. If you go to in the paint color DNA table, you can click this little button that says white, and it's going to show you all the whites to off whites. And there aren't any in that color range because, of course, there isn't, because there was chromaticity involved. So let's just take them all out. And I can't delete the hue family. I didn't do it. So you're on the paint color DNA table. I have to reset it because it is now confused by all of the clicking and button pushing that I just did. So we're here on a fresh, refreshed paint color DNA table without Lori's wild clicking, and impatient clicking is more like what it is. And between sharing the screen and being in the table, it does get stuck for me every now and then. So I'm going to close out the ad again and just click this W, and the table grays out. And now what this does, it shows you all of the colors of white from all of the paint brands that are in the paint color DNA table. Again, this is something that you could never do just flipping through Fandex. Not even possible. Every color of white from every brand is in here, and how we qualify colors of white. And I qualified each one of these individually myself because of course I did, because have you met me? So I went through these one at a time, and I looked at the notation. And in order to qualify as a white, it has to have a Munsell value above 9.12, and it has to have a chromaticity below 1.00. And that's what these are. So yeah, these are all of the colors of white from all of the hue families, from all of the brands. You want to know how many there are? I'm going to increase this to 100 colors per view. And then I'm going to come down here and go to the last page, and we can see how many pages there are. And then we can do a little bit of math on the fly. And I can tell you how many colors of white exist in architectural coatings world in every major paint brand. And that would be 400. There are 400 colors of white. And I even have all of the bare colors of white in here. I don't have all of the bare colors, but I have all of the bare whites. So click this little W right here if you want to only see the white and off-white paint colors from all of the major brands. I did include the off-whites, but we can sort it by value and only have put it in order by value. And then you can see the ones that have A Munsell value above 9.12, those are colors of white. That's the benchmark you want to keep in mind. 9.12 value, Munsell value is a color of white. Okay, so we have designed a kitchen pink color design. We have designed a pink color design for this quartz or bathroom. We've done, let me say it correctly. We've done a pink color plan for Vazano, and we've done one for Azul Iran. We have options. We're ordering samples now. They're coming. Those samples are coming. And if you don't want to wait for samples, get a mighty board and then go buy the sample and paint it yourself. I'm going to reset this table now while I'm thinking about it. So when we come back, it's ready to go. We are coming up on an hour. I hope you guys are good with this. I can do one more. I can go one more. And then we'll finish. And then we'll be done. And then I won't talk to you again until next week. Okay, so let's do one more thing from another green hue family. And again, the whole point of this is for you to understand that you need to know how to categorize the kind of green that you have to work with correctly, because it matters in terms of harmony. Like the pink colors that we found for the first quartz sample, they don't work with the second quartz sample. They don't, because it's two different hue families. We were pulling pink colors from the green yellow hue family for the Vazano quartz sample, and we need to pull near neutrals, chromatic grays from the blue green hue family for the Azul Iran quartz sample. So you just can't say it's green. It's not just green. It matters. And then this Trex decking, I can just share this now because we're moving on to the next project, the next client, our next theoretical client, right? Our next theoretical client, let's see, what are we doing for this client? This is Trex decking, which I can't say enough about this Trex decking. Whenever I measure a Trex decking, Cheryl Craig, off topic, but I love your hair, Lori. My hair. Thank you, Cheryl. Appreciate it. My hair is just it is an entity all its own. I didn't cut it through COVID. I mean, how many people out there did not get a haircut through COVID? I wasn't going to go to a salon and sit there and let somebody cut my hair, so I just let it grow. And I do not color my hair. My hair has been this color since I was 25 years old. White. My hair color is white. And this is my hair because I cannot buy fake hair because they don't make fake hair in this color. They just don't. And every time I go to get my hair cut, wow, lucky. Cheryl says it's lucky. I don't know how lucky it is. But every time I go to get my hair cut, they're like, people pay a lot of money to get this color for their hair. It's like a super big process. And I'm like, really? Really? And it's been since I was 25 years old. So it's so funny. But anyway, that's the story of my hair. It's this color. And don't know that I would choose this color, but it came in handy a couple of years at Halloween because I dressed up like Storm from that Marvel movie, whatever it is. I forget. I'm not into the cartoons, but I was Storm. Halle Berry played her. And for the love of God, I did not look like Halle Berry by any stretch of the imagination, but that was a good Halloween costume because, I had some hair to work with. Well, let's get back on topic. See, Cheryl, you can't, you guys, getting me off topic, we'll just go there. I got to be careful about that because, squirrel. Lori's very much squirrel. But let's, no, don't be sorry. Don't be sorry. It's been over an hour. I'm getting a little punchy now too. Let's focus on this Trex decking. And I was kind of gushing on Trex because there's so much to gush about. I have measured many samples of Trex decking. What I am so impressed with Trex is how consistent the coloring is, how they, quality control. It just must be insane at the Trex decking factory where they make this. And I think someone knows what they're doing, right? It feels like someone knows what they're doing with Trex. For sure. And that's probably why it's so expensive. You get what you pay for. So let's measure. Let me get rid of my tissue. I always, like I said, I always have tissue because I usually always have allergies. So I hope this is still connected after I, kind of went off topic there and went off the rails. And this one, this Trex decking is measuring in at 89 degrees. Can you guys see that, the hue angle? And I'll do another one just to prove my point of how consistent the color is in these samples from Trex. And it's going to come up at 88 degrees. And we could go all over this sample. And if you guys were here, I would, if I'm working, like actually measuring this for work, I'm taking 5 to 7 samples and doing the multi-point averaging in Excel. And it's an Excel spreadsheet. And I just type in the numbers and it does it for me. It's like you push a button and it does the average in Excel. So knowing how to use Excel is handy too. That's also on my iPad, right? All of this is, I take all of this with me and I travel light as a color consultant. I'm not showing up with Fandex. I'm not schlepping sample boards. No, I show up with a device, the right device, whichever one that might be, and my iPad. And I can connect remotely to my desktop if I need to, which I do connect to my desktop to access the Paint Color DNA table, because the Paint Color DNA table does work on an iPad, but I need it to be big. I like it to be bigger. And it works better if I connect to my desktop, is what I'm saying, as opposed to going directly to the website from my iPad. I hope that makes sense. The DNA table is mobile, but it works better on a bigger screen. So that's how I do it. I connect remotely to my desktop when I'm on site through my iPad, and I have my Spectro One Pro device, or whichever device is the right one. Spectro for matte surfaces, Spectro One Pro for shiny surfaces. I have both of my devices, all of my devices with me. But I'm not schlepping Fandex. I'm not bringing in samples. I'm not there for an hour and a half. I'm not. I get in, I measure the fixed finishes, and just like any other trade, I tell my client that I need some time to take some measurements. Because every other trade is going to do that. Is someone installing window treatments? They're going to take 20, 30 minutes to measure windows, right? And that's what I tell my clients. I need about 20 minutes to take some measurements. And then I do this. The deck might be connected to the house. It's not a chunk just sitting there on the table waiting for me. But that's what I do. I walk around and I take measurements of the important elements and fixed finishes. And then I collect the data in my app. I come home and I go shopping for colors. And then I give them a paint schedule of, what samples to go buy. And that's it. That's how easy it is to work with me if you're a client. This is how easy it is to do it if you're a color professional. This is how easy it is to work with me if you're not, if you're hiring me. And so when I say color made easy, this is specifically how I make color easy, again, for everyone. So Trex decking, I was, bragging on them how consistent it is no matter where I measure this. I'm going to get a hue angle of 89, 90 degrees. So we're all done with this. That's how fast it is to measure it. So I'm going to go back over to the Paint Color DNA table. This is the last thing we're going to do. We are going to find paint colors that work with this Trex decking. So why would somebody choose this color of Trex decking? One, it's neutral. I'm sure this is one of the more popular colors. It's Gravel Path from Trex decking. And it's not gray. It's not necessarily gray. It has a certain warmth to it, which is why I think it would be attractive to a lot of people, appealing to a lot of people. And it also works with a lot of stone and brick colors. So you might need a paint color to paint the house to go with the Trex decking. It's a refresh, right? We're refreshing the exterior, getting a new deck. What paint colors are we going to use with this? And maybe they have hardy plank siding and it already goes with the Trex decking, but now they need a trim color to pull those two disparate components together, right? The siding, the hardy looks great with the Trex, but what do we do for a trim color? What do we do for a front door color? So those are the kind of scenarios of connecting the different components together, color components together, that we measure for, right? This is why we measure everything we have to work with. Take a look at it holistically and figure out how we can connect all of it together so it's a cohesive color scheme. There's flow. So we are here. I'm going to close out the ad, and we are going to search the range for the Trex decking. I forget what I said. The lightness value here, let's do between 80 and 90. Right? Is that where I am? I don't think I am. Give me a second. The lightness value was 52. Okay, so I didn't write this down. So we're going to have to figure this out just like I was doing this, like it was a real client. So I'm measuring at 51, 52 in terms of lightness. This is a little bit dark, the Trex decking. I don't want the body of the house to match it for sure. I would like the body of the house to be a little bit lighter. So lightness value, I am going to stick with 75 to 85 because I do want some depth here. I don't want it to be, because we're outside, I don't want it to be too light. We need some oomph to stand up to the daylight, the intensity of the sun exterior, because sunlight will strip chromaticity and nuance from a color. And nuance is when you consider lightness and chroma at the same time. So I'm talking and a lot because I'm thinking this through because I'm not sure where I want to go. Chromaticity was measuring at 7 to 8. I don't want this much color. I want the house to be more neutral than the Trex decking. So I'm going to do 4 to 5. I'm going to go pretty neutral. If it's too gray, we can always refine that, right? And the easiest part, thankfully, is the hue, because I know exactly there's no option here. There are no choices when it comes to hue family because it needs to coordinate with the Trex decking. So we have to be in the same hue family range. And this is smack dab in the middle of the yellow hue family. We are right around 90 degrees for this Trex decking color. So we are right around 90 degrees. I'm going to do 88 to maybe 92. Okay. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how Lori comes up with ranges to search on the DNA table live. That's how I do it. I didn't have this one done in advance. And I had notes for everything. I don't know what I was thinking. I have the Munsell value for the Trex decking, but I didn't do the range. Oh well. And these are the only colors we have to choose from that fit in those parameters. And they're good ones. They are really good ones with this Trex decking. I still think they might be a little too dark. Gray Heron from Sherwin-Williams. Conforth White from Farrow and Ball. Very pretty color. Not so sure I would do that exterior. I'm not sure how successful you would be getting that one color matched either. Like I said before, some colors cross brands more gracefully than others, and I'm not so sure about that one from Farrow and Ball. Cumulus Cloud from Benjamin Moore 1550 is very pretty, but I think it's going to be too close to Trex. We are going to go lighter, folks. We are going to go lighter because this is a little flat. There is no contrast. And you guys know how I feel about contrast. And if you wanted, that's just me. But if you wanted it to be more consistent, and maybe you need the Trex decking to blend more into the body of the house, so it doesn't shrink the perception of how big the house is or something like that. It might be what you want. Then, these colors are good options for you. I'm going to bump this up to 90 to 95. We're going to go for a lighter color of house. And that's too far. But is it too far? Maybe it's not too far. You know what's not too far is Taupe White from Sherwin-Williams. That is not too far with this Trex decking. That is, I would buy that sample in a hot minute. The other one from Sherwin-Williams is sun bleached, but this is an Emerald Designer Collection color. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think you can get those mixed exterior. I think those are only interior colors, and you can only get those colors mixed in the Sherwin-Williams Emerald Designer base, which is pretty expensive. It's rather expensive. So yeah, I would do taupe white, and I would also get a sample of gardenia because it's a very pretty off-white color. No, it's a color of white, isn't it? Yeah, gardenia is white from Benjamin Moore. Gardenia probably wouldn't work for me here in Phoenix, but would probably work for somebody like in Pennsylvania or the Midwest, or somewhere on that latitude in the United States. These are a little too light. If you guys want to hang with me, I'm going to go bump it down a little bit. Let's just do 85 to 90 and see what we get. Because I like options, and I like to look at all the options. And there, we got a couple more in Grandma's China. Oh, shoot. Grandma's China is a Color Stories color. It can't go exterior. And I've had clients tell me before that Benjamin Moore stores will not match their Color Stories colors in any other base except Aura. So I don't know if you get them. I don't know if you could get them to make you a color match of Grandma's China in an exterior base or not. Eider White from Sherwin-Williams popped up. That's a good one. City Loft, I don't know. It's not one of my favorite colors. It gets talked about a lot, but I think there's prettier options. But yeah, taupe white from Sherwin-Williams would be at the top of my list. I'd also get Eider White, and I forget what I said, the other Benjamin Moore color, but if I was doing this for real, I'd be taking screenshots of these and then putting them into my color schedule. I can show you how I take a screenshot of the table if you want. So I have a Snagit screen capture. Everybody has some kind of an app on their desktop, I'm sure, that you use to take screen captures. And so this is what mine looks like. And so I can really drill down on the exact color that I want. And let's just do it for real. Like, I want taupe white. So I just line it up and I get the color data profile, the entire color data profile for taupe white. And then that gets saved on my desktop, and I can open up my PowerPoint document and paste it in. And that's how I make my work and paint schedule for clients. Okay, this is all I have for you guys. So thank you so much for joining me and walking through these different color samples, these different kinds of greens, because it matters. And I hope you now understand why categorizing the kind of color, the kind of green you have to deal with matters so much. From, finding the right paint colors to go with it, to being able to figure out a perfectly harmonious color scheme. That's the reason why. Okay, I'm going to go. I'm not going to talk to you guys until next week. We're unpacking from the storage unit still. So I'm going to be unpacking boxes, and I have just a little more, I want to chat a little bit more. When we bought this house, it was kind of like at the end of the pandemic. And so the options for the house were kind of limited, and I kind of chose the best of the worst. So my floor is, and it's very pretty. It's called limestone, and they look like blocks of limestone, but because I didn't like any of the wood options that they had. They were like too pink, too peachy. I like the wood floors that I like all belong to the green yellow hue family. And they didn't have anything I liked. So again, I kind of chose the best of the worst. And so I have a white limestone floor. And I want to get all of the furniture and boxes out of the storage unit, because we've lived in 3 places, unless that's a whole story too. I have rental units, and we live in them and we move, we live and we move. And I probably won't be staying in this house either for years and years and years. This is this is probably not my forever home, but I would still like to look at getting the floor replaced, and everybody thinks I'm insane. But I just took what they gave me, what was the least expensive to tile the whole place, because I knew I could go back and change the floor. I'm crazy that way. And also the kitchen countertop, the quartz in the kitchen, that's not my favorite either. I chose the best of the worst. But I'm really glad we were able to get this house when we did, because the timing was perfect. So making compromises on finishes was financially the right thing to do. When it comes to color and design, I think you have to be reasonable and strategic. It's important, but sometimes you have to make smart decisions for smart reasons. And that's kind of what I did with this house. So I want to get all of the stuff done so I can start looking at what, maybe some options for the house. I don't know what I'm doing, but that's what I'm doing this weekend. What are you guys doing this weekend? Let me know. I love it when you guys talk to me and send me emails and leave me DMs. I love the feedback. Appreciate it. So I'm going to go, and I will talk to you guys next week.